So let's go into some of those products, maybe the top two even with, I know elderberry, right?
Mhm,
Syrup is
mhm.
one. The tart cherry syrup as well. I've tried both. Wonderful.
Oh, good.
Great. But let's talk about the benefits and how you should take them and who should take them. Because people are
Okay.
probably listening and saying, okay, what do I need elderberry for? I'm not sick right now. I don't have a cold. When would I take it? How do I take it? Let's start with the elderberry and give us a little insight on that.
Okay, well that's my jam. I love to talk about the elderberry, mostly because it's one of our top antioxidant berries on on the
Mm,
earth. And so that is why it's so effective. And I've had to really look into that and why are antioxidants so important? It's because they go in, we've got these free radicals roaming around in our bodies that create disease and cancer and all things. And they're trying to form up together, and that's
mhm,
where you pop up a tumor or you'll pop up a whatever. And antioxidants, what they do is they go into the system and they grab those up and they get rid of them. And so that's why I think elderberry, to say what does it help with, well, you name it, I mean, because I believe there's only one sickness, and that's unhealthy cells, that's depleted
mm,
cells, cells that have gone rogue because they're not getting what they need. Um, and so when you can put that antioxidant into your body daily, I believe you're going to win, and you're probably going to be shocked at how much it helps you. For me, it was sinus and allergies. That was my symptom of what was really going on. The root was I had some unhealthy cells and I was sick all the time. But once I took care of that, that went away. It was amazing. Um, and so elderberry is great for most people. There's a few autoimmune people who have not done well with it. Autoimmune is a very tricky thing.
mhm,
And so that's why we have our antioxidant infusion with cranberries, blueberries, and aronia berries. We created that for our autoimmune peeps. A lot of autoimmuners can take the elderberry, but you
mhm.
just have to try it. I mean, every person's different, but that's really the only people I can think of that might not do as well with elderberry. Something with their immune system, it attacks itself, like
Mhm.
autoimmune is like, whew, for me. But my sister actually has it, and the antioxidant is a huge win. And so we created that with them in mind. Of course, you can't have too many antioxidants, in my opinion. So I take both. But anyway, the elderberry, I think that our elderberry is effective too because it has the cinnamon, clove, and ginger in it,
Mm,
which are great for any kind of inflammation. A lot of our sicknesses start with inflammation. With cancer, what do they check for? Inflammatory markers.
mhm.
And so, which was shocking to me. I was like, so you're telling me my inflammatory markers can tell you if my cancer is better or worse? So that tells me if I'm treating inflammation, I could also be treating cancer, maybe? Okay. So, I was starting to put that together, which no one tells you that,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, but that's what they look at. The conventional doctors will look at your inflammatory
Mhm.
markers. And so I'm like, so why aren't we just addressing inflammation? So, elderberry that's why it's great. The ginger, the clove, the ginger, clove, what I say, cinnamon.
Cinnamon.
All of those things are so huge. The list of benefits to just those alone are a mile long. In addition to elderberry, so
And it's an interesting time because you bring up sinus and allergies. It's allergy season right now. So many
yes,
people I've talked to said this is the worst allergy season.
I've heard
And
that.
there's a lot of interesting kind of hypotheses going on. Of course, there's the hygiene hypothesis that if you don't expose your immune system to things like pollen allergens,
Hmm.
different,
Hmm.
pathogens and everything, it weakens and then you could have a strong response because it's not trained. People don't realize allergies really aren't a reaction. It's not because of the pollen, it's because of your
Hmm.
immune
Immune
system's
system,
reaction to it.
absolutely,
It's a benign
absolutely.
substance. That's why I go
Yes.
outside and I don't get an allergic reaction. You
Right.
do. We both have immune
Yes.
system, right?
Yes, yes.
And during the last year, we've been living with masks on. We've been living inside, not
Right.
exposing
Yeah.
ourselves,
Right.
sanitizing everything.
Mhm.
So, I've read this, talked to doctors and talked to patients as well that are saying they're having these overreactive immune system or overreactive kind of responses to
Right.
allergy season right now. And what can they do? And I think one of the things they could do is give their immune system a boost with something like
Yes,
elderberry. So simple. And
absolutely.
people think it's Claritin, it's this. That is just
Yeah.
subduing your immune system even more.
Yes, yes, it's gonna
That's
create
the worst thing
a
you could do.
long-term problem. It might fix it
Absolutely.
in the me and that I lived on Zyrtec, and I felt
Yeah.
awful on it, and I didn't know there was a better way. I was the girl you could hear snipping and snorting down the hallway, and they knew it was me coming. I had the issue, and I would get it for months.
Yeah.
And it's funny you talk about the pollen. I get so sad because I even have friends, we'll walk outside and they're fearful of pollen.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
walk outside and I take a deep breath and I'm like,
Mm.
I'm not scared of pollen any longer. All I know is that if my immune system is strong, my allergies and sinus issues have disappeared. So I know
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah.
And so in knowing that, I don't walk outside and I'm not fearful of allergy season,
Yeah.
and pollen season. And I'm
We
not fearful for my kids to go out in it and play in it and get all dirty in it. It just
Of
doesn't bother me.
course, we should
That's it.
never be fearful of nature. And it's been shown
Right.
time and time again, getting your hands in dirt, being outside more, even with pollen, exposing yourself to these things strengthens it.
Absolutely.
Just like you
Yes.
need to go to the gym to strengthen your
Hmm.
muscles. Otherwise, they go in atrophy. You just sit around and become very weak. Your immune system's
Yes.
the same way. It needs
Yes.
nature to get strong, it needs to be
Yes.
exposed.
Absolutely.
And if you're in that state where it hasn't been, it's pretty weak. One of the things you could do, just like giving protein to muscles or amino acids, is elderberry is great. So
Hmm.
I love that you brought it up because it is a solution to a lot of people's suffering right now and going through some kind of allergic reaction to
Yes.
pollen and
Yes. It's a
seasonal
big
rhinitis.
issue.